and it really hasn't warmed up that much. But I'm saying not warmed up. It's 70, so I guess I'm not complaining.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but there were some storms that came through and hit the Panhandle. One person died, and there were some, trailer parks that got demolished, and I saw a whole house off its foundation. So there was some tough weather going through there.
All right, we're live on YouTube now, so keep it clean.
Hi, YouTubers.
Mike, where are you? You said you were away, right? Are you not in PA?
Yeah, I'm back home. We got home last night around dinner time.
Oh, okay.
Earlier than expected, but again, we were looking at the weather there and here and trying to time. We drove, so
I was just going to ask if you drove. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you could choose your time of leaving. You picked a good time.
Yeah, I think we did. The kids were off for about 3 weeks, and they're headed back to school Monday, and then they were off today because of the weather.
Right. Oh. Yeah.
Crazy. We've had 4 power outages here so far this evening for 5 minutes. And right now we're good. I don't know how long it's going to last. I hope I last through the presentation, but if not, hopefully I can catch a recording later on.
Yeah. Hi, Barb.
Yeah. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
I was going through some of my old files, Barb, and I had a picture of you, and it looked like a 10-inch daub at your Pocono house.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but it was from I don't know, 2012.
Yeah,
I was
about
going through some old
long.
files. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck Atmore, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And how are you?
Good. Good to see you here. Glad you made it.
Thank you. I'm glad I made it.
As long as the power holds.
Yeah, we've lost some problems already.
I know it's a couple of months away, but do people have specific plans for viewing the eclipse in April? People going anywhere?
We're going to Lake Erie.
Internet coverage.
Okay.
It's too far from Florida.
Too far from Florida.
Yeah, this is Heather. We're going to go to Buffalo. My mother-in-law lives in Buffalo. We've been planning for a long time. We're really excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
Looking for some reports in May.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll be there in May.
This is Heather. Really quick question. Do I need to also connect to the YouTube to watch the presentation, or will I be able to manage with just the Zoom?
No, the Zoom will be fine.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep, I already lost power. It came back on, so I switched over my iPad so I can operate off my phone in case it goes off again. Got my batteries all set. I'm ready to go.
All right.
Okay, we're on YouTube.
Don, Westchester's not back in session yet, are they? Or
No,
are they?
I don't think they are. No.
Okay. I wasn't
Another
sure.
week or two.
So there's a puzzle in that box on the table behind us. It's a cool little puzzle making gadget you got. You still have to make.
What kind of jigsaw puzzle?
Yeah.
It's a whole board just for jigsaw puzzle. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Somebody's cat.
Is pissed off.
That's me. That's Elliot. That's Elliot. He wants to participate,
Is that Elliot?
and then he changes his mind. Forget that you can hear him. And scream and want my attention, and then sometimes he'll jump up on the desk. But oh wait, I got another visitor.
Oh, my kitty never did that ever.
Yeah.
That was
That's the other cat.
Two-legged
The other
meow.
Pat the cat.
Yes, it's most interesting when it happens in like a national broadcast or something, right?
Yeah.
So Tammy, check this out.
Well,
What's Don
That's the
doing?
way of the future.
Right. I need to see you. How do I get just you up there? Say something.
You go to the upper right corner and go to speaker, and then speaker view will show.
Yeah, and then the speaker shows, but you weren't saying anything. What is it?
So I have a slide about it. I'll show you then. That's a new telescope.
It's hard to see what it is.
When we start the program, I have a few slides on. I'll show you then. So Electron just came out with an automated telescope today. They want $4,000 for theirs. So 1/8 of that.
I don't know if I shared with everybody that in October we went on a safari, and
Yeah.
our safari director is Maasai, somebody's phone, a Maasai warrior, and we've become friends on Facebook, and I'm trying to teach on him. And when the meteor showers came through, the Leonids and the Geminids, I tried to I had him download the Stellarium app, and then I tried to get him to see the meteor showers, and he told me that he's seen those before, and that his grandparents told him they were dying stars.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. And I said, well, that's an interesting way of putting it, because legend, I mean, I was trying to explain to him Santa Claus. So come on, we're like on the same level here. So, I tried to explain to him what they were, and I didn't especially explain the showers, like how periodically the Earth goes through these dust storms of comets, whatnot. But I explained to him what they were. I said they're dust particles and sometimes rocks. And he goes, oh, my grandparents told me they were dying stars. I'm like, well, now you have something to tell your grandkids when you have them.
Right. It's just the definition of what a star is.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Exactly. Well, we call them shooting stars. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun communicating with him about astronomy. I got him to catch the International Space Station a few times. That was fun. I said, just remember, there are 7 people up in that little dot. And he goes, is this real?
Well, and when you think about it, they're not really that far away. What's the altitude of the space station? A couple hundred miles.
225. I think,
miles. So I got 240, 250, yeah.
Oh, that's nothing.
I got 225. So yeah.
It's like driving across Pennsylvania,
Not even.
They were only as high as the fuzz on a peach. Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. Carl Sagan once described our atmosphere as if you took a 12-inch globe and varnished it.
Yeah,
That's our atmosphere.
Yeah, or a skin on an apple is the other one I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate that is.
No.
hi Molly, hi Kate,
Hello, how you doing?
good.
Right.
This is good. This is the first time I've been to a meeting in about 2 years. I can do it in my pajamas, you know?
Yeah, isn't it great?
Mhm.
What do
My
you,
power is flickering.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm cooking supper right now, so I'm gonna have to
Thank you. Thank you.
stop the video while I'm eating.
Now, what does that say?
Oh, did anybody here used to do SETI at home back in the day?
Yep.
You know, considering the topic for tonight.
Oh, yeah. I'll be talking about that.
Yeah, I did it. I did it for a long time. I did SETI at home. I did folding at home, kind of using the computer
Yeah,
computational resources on
ongoing.
mobile.
Yeah, no, it was a great program, and there's two current citizen scientist projects that hit exactly that now.
Okay, I'd be interested in that. I have I got a relatively new PC. It's got some new whiz bang CPUs in it, and yeah, I'd let it run on my machine, no problem. I just need to know what it is.
Have your cell phone ready, because I'll have the QR codes for all the sites.
Got it.
I saw Delaware Astronomical Society had an event tonight, telescope workshop. They canceled it. Probably everybody's canceled stuff tonight, so.
what's the weather like right now? Is it like windy and stormy and rainy?
Yep, raining like crazy. I hear the wind out there howling. Yep.
Yeah, it just passed through us. So about a half hour ago, it ended.
I think there'll be a squall line come through in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Kathy, the big worry here is flooding, both local streams, the rivers, and, you know, even when the storm like passes,
Mm-hmm.
where just because the ground's saturated,
Yep, the Brandywine.
water has nowhere to go at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Usually that Brandywine area down by like southern Chester County there. Not too far from you guys, Barb and Doc.
no, we're up high, luckily though.
One time,
You
just
had
had a brownout.
a power outage, did you?
Yeah. Hope this doesn't go on too much.
I only have 70 slides, don't worry.
That's only
We
the
did
first
have
half.
a total,
I'm not
we
covering
did
them
have a
all.
total power outage, but apparently it was enough to kick me off.
Yeah,
Yeah, I switched over to my iPad on battery power with my phone connected to my iPad, so I'm ready. And when it goes out, when power goes out again, I'm in an apartment in Glen Mills. We lose power at the drop of a hat. Now a truck goes by, we lose power. I mean, all the time.
Come see everybody. I'm trying to convince Polly to make an appearance, but she's not having it.
little shy. Look at you.
Is that a
Man,
dog or a
who's
cat?
Kathy?
Polly is a cat.
Cat.
So, Ann, did you say Dave was going to join us from work or not?
He's going to try, but his shift is over at 8, so
Okay.
it depends on how many stragglers he has.
Right, there's always that.
Where does he work again, Ann?
He works in an urgent care system. I think he's in Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania today.
Huntington
Sometimes,
Valley.
Sometimes it's
There's one.
Okay.
Oh,
Emergency care
man.
facility.
Meow.
Hi, Chandra.
There's a baby.
Meow.
Kitty belly.
Kitty belly, big fat kitty belly.
Come on, Kathy, your cat has to come out now.
I know, I'll go get him.
Oh, I miss my kitties. I need to get some more kitties.
Yeah, it's pretty feet even, look. Okay, we'll let you down. We'll stop torturing you.
Now, this is a big fat kitty belly.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at that belly.
Oh, primordial.
This is Elliot.
Cat or a raccoon?
That's Elliot Ness. That's
Elliot
his
Ness.
name. And he has a middle initial M because there's the M on his forehead. See the
Yeah.
M?
Maniac.
Yep. He's not real happy right now, so I gotta let him go.
Okay.
That's Elliot M. Ness. And I have Elvis Blackman and Polly Purebred.
Whatever works.
Right. You don't even have an underdog, right?
Well, my husband's favorite cartoon is Underdog. That's where he gets that. And I named the boys, and I said, I'm not naming my cat Underdog, so it's Polly Purebred.
Polly. Yeah.
Polly Purebred.
Very good. Yeah, my power display.
My favorite was Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, right.
Oh, right.
There's a TV station called ME, and at 11:30 on Sunday mornings, the Jetsons are on. One of my faves.
Is that before or after Leave It to Beaver?
It's before the Brady Bunch.
Oh, okay.
And how many things on the Jetsons came true?
Not flying cars, not apartments in space.
So Rosie the robot, was that their maid? Is that right?
Robot you made, yeah.
No, Rosie the
Rosie. Rastro.
No, that's another one.
Basically Sprockets. Cogswell Cogs.
Mm-hmm.
They spent their childhood.
Right. I always like that one episode where they needed to send them to the moon to one guy to press a button. That's all they needed, just to press a button. You know, that's like, that came true. That totally.
Hey, did you see Oppenheimer? Did you see
Yes.
the movie Oppenheimer? That's all it was. They just hit that button.
Right.
Yep.
Right?
Okay, my supper is ready.
And we're seeing your ceiling.
Oh,
There you are.
That's better. I have my iPad set up.
Here's the other one. Here's the talker.
Oh,
There's the talker. You saying hello?
Oh, my.
how old are they now? Ours are 15.
16.
Yeah, ours will be 16 in March.
Yeah.
Time.
Almost 2 minutes. We'll start in 2 minutes.
Anyone see any updates on the Peregrine launch?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Well,
'cause-
last I saw, they scrubbed the landing, but I assume it's still going to crash into the moon. That's the last I saw. Because they have no propulsion.
Just read today that Atlantis is delayed again.
Yep, they're laying that till next year.
September 20 of 25. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That was just announced today. I haven't had a chance to really look into all the details. Probably, given all the suppliers they've got involved, they've got some delays.
This is
I
Artemis
read
2,
the
right?
whole article.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Hi, Janet.
And Artemis 3, I'll be shocked if we get it in the timeline they said, which is 26.
Jim's not making it tonight because
No.
his electricity keeps going in and out.
We've had a few people have bounced on and off because of that. And they're blinking here a little bit. And Miller, you still don't have power, right?
No power.
Yeah, Don's presenting on battery power tonight, so let's hope we don't lose him. But we'll just be
quality
each other. So.
Oh, the connection, not my talk. Okay.
All right, well, it's just about 7:30. I just want to show you one quick thing before we start, and we'll get right into Don. I'm going to show you this new what Santa brought us here. Everyone see this?
I saw it behind you. That's amazing.
Yes.
Wow. Wow, that is very
So
cool.
this is that there have been automated scopes out for a couple of years, but they all were like $3,000 or $4,000, and some have come down to 1,500. This one is only $500.
Wow.
So that's reached the point where I couldn't resist. And my friend on the West Coast, Brent Crabb, you've seen a lot of his pictures in our newsletter. He got one, and so I got one. And within the first hour that I had it up, these are the kind of pictures I got. This is
Holy crap!
Wow.
That's only like 2 or 3 minutes of exposure. There is
wow, that's incredible. What is it? The planet? Can it zoom
You see
in?
a dust lane. That's pretty cool.
It's like
What
2 or 3
aperture
minutes.
is the lens?
It's 50 millimeters. That's it, 2 inches.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. You know
ET
what that little
cluster.
50 millimeters is doing.
Yep. There's a double cluster. I think these are only like 2 minutes exposure. It's all they are. And I've seen people on Facebook doing like hour exposures, and they look amazing. These are just barely getting started. This is Starfish Cluster in Auriga. This is Caroline's Rose, which is hard to see. This came out really well. And it comes with a solar filter too.
Nice.
So anyway, I just want to show you. It's too cool not to share. It's so cool. So
awesome. Have fun with that.
Oh yeah, it's a blast.
How about like using it very user friendly or
Very user friendly. I mean, within the first 15 minutes of turning it on, I was getting pictures.
Wow.
That fast.
Jeez.
You put it outside, you start up, you have your app, it connects to your phone, and then you tell it what you want to look at, and it does what they call a plate solve.
Okay.
It looks at the sky and records the image, and then through its internal computations, it centers the image because it analyzes what it sees. And then you can fine tune that. And you can adjust, there's a lot of adjustments you can make, but out of the box, within 20 minutes, it's taking pictures.
Wow.
It's really cool.
Hey, Don, can you share a link to...
Nothing's available at $500 like it's ever before.
Yeah, that's really cool. Can you share a link to that?
Yep,
sure.
please.
Yeah, I'll send it out.
Awesome.
Just search for D-Star S50, but you'll find
D-Star
it.
S50.
Yeah, I've seen advertising.
D-Star S50. So, I think it'll be really good for outreach because there's a lot of times at start parties, some people have a hard time getting to the eyepiece or getting a view through it. Small kids, some older people have a hard time looking through an eyepiece. This will be on an iPad screen. So.
They just don't show us up with those of us using scopes.
No, it's never going to quite take the place of a real rig, but it has its purpose. So. All right, well, Don, if you want to get started, we might as well. 7:33. We've got pretty good attendance here.
Yeah.
So, why don't you give it a go?
All right, I can. Bruce, do you want to say anything, or I just jump right in?
Are we doing any star charts or anything, or night sky? Or
I think with Don Miller on battery power, we should get him going as soon as we can.
Yep. Okay. All good. No, Don, I won't even introduce you. People know who you are, so go for it.
Well, we do have a couple people here who are new. that haven't met Don. So
Okay.
you're probably going to give him a quick intro.
Yeah. So, again, Don Miller's our speaker tonight. And, Don has a pretty amazing career. He has degrees in chemical engineering, and he's had quite an astounding pharmaceutical industry career, which I'm quite envious of, actually. But in addition to that, he's been a lifelong astronomer. He's been involved in a number of different societies, both when he lived out in California as well as here. And for the last couple of years, he's been a NASA ambassador and has done, a fabulous job giving really, really good talks. So what you're going to hear tonight is really part one of a talk on the search for intelligent life in the universe. And then probably in March, Don will give part two of this talk. So it's a real pleasure, Don, to welcome you. So thanks very much.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that intro. Is everyone hearing me okay?
Yes.
Sounds good.
All right. So as Bruce said, and thanks for the intro, is, the talk tonight is really part one. Could extraterrestrial life exist? Or said another way, what's the probability that life exists beyond the Earth? And, it's one of those great questions for mankind. And I just want to set the expectations from the beginning. There is no answer to this yet, okay? There's many ponderings about it, and there you can use what we know about life and space and the basically the chemistry that's involved, as well as the astrophysics of stars and planets and where they form, to sort of make estimates. And that's what we're going to start looking at tonight is, looking at how can we apply the science we know to trying to estimate this imponderable. There's many great unsolved questions in astronomy. What's the universe made of? We know there's such a thing as dark matter and dark energy, but we don't really know what they are. What came before the Big Bang? There's theories about it, but again, no great answers. And of course, are we alone in the universe is one that we'll address tonight. And there's many, many more that we could fill this screen with. All right. So the goals for this talk really are twofold. One is, addressing the question, what is the probability that life exists beyond the Earth? And review how we can contemplate this great unknown. How likely is it that we're alone is really the way to sort of formulate the question. And in case I forget, if something is not clear to you, just speak up and I'll try to describe what I'm talking about. And if I don't know, I'll let you know I don't know. I also want to truthfully stimulate thinking and discussion on this topic. We're a very accomplished group. You're all probably have thought through this topic yourselves, and I'd be curious to hear what you have to say. I'd like to start this talk with this one from our friend Carl Sagan. And this was actually on the right here. You can't see my pointer, but see that purple arrow points to a little blue dot there in one of the raster lines. These diagonal lines are raster images, raster issues with the images coming back from Voyager 1. This is basically from February of 1990, and it was out beyond the orbit of Neptune, looking back at the inner solar system. And that's our planet. That's Earth. And sort of to put into perspective everything we are and know, and this is what Carl did. He was much more poetic than I could ever be. So take a minute just to read through his statement there. So this is his famous one where he ends up that we're basically living on a dust mote suspended in a sunbeam. Extremely poetic, nothing I could ever come up with. So the challenge regarding the second Genesis, or another way of saying, life independent of the Earth, is what is life? And how would we even know it if we found it? If it's life as we know it on Earth, obviously we would know that. But what if it's something else? And there's really no scientific consensus when you try to dig into this on how to define life. There's working hypotheses that people use, and NASA has one. But there's many ways you can look at defining what life is. Life begins with the first semi-permeable membrane. Another might be life begins with the first self-sustaining metabolic cycle, or an RNA-like genetic system that carries and duplicates biological information. Or even you could say it begins with self-replicating minerals. and systems can get more and more complexity until they can actually form life. If the reality is it goes on and on. If you just sit on your computer and Google this, you could spend the rest of your life reading through these things. People are really coming up with many different ways of looking at this, and there's no true definition of life. Programs actively look for signals from the civilizations beyond the Earth. Let's just do a quick look at this. I'll cover this in more detail next time. Types of signals to search for. One would be technosignatures, and this is really looking for really advanced civilizations that are emanating signals, and radio astronomy obviously is the tool to use here, and most of work has been done in this. It's low cost, cover a large amount of space in a short amount of time, and it's relatively easy to interpret. You either see a signal or you don't. Another way to look for is biosignatures, where you're really trying to look for chemical compositions that suggest life. JWST is doing this, as well as there are ground-based systems, and really they're expensive. And what you're really trying to do is you're looking at the atmospheres of exoplanets. So the spatial volume you're looking at is really limited, and finding those atmospheres and looking at that data is very intensive, and also false positive. Abiotic processes could be producing this, like oxygen is a classic. And planets change over time, like Earth didn't really used to have very much oxygen. So you would say Earth wouldn't be very habitable. And yet it did have life, microbial, but it did have it. And ultimately it produced us. And so oxygen did come, but it wasn't there originally. Radio astronomy technosignatures, what frequency you'd look at is a great question. I mean, you have the whole radio spectrum that you could look at. Typically, work's been done at what's called the water hole, and that's around the 21 centimeter line of neutral hydrogen. It's the most abundant element in the universe. So if you were to modulate that signal, it would be pretty obvious that something's happening there. And, you know, there have been people who've said, well, that's maybe not what they would do, but maybe they would take and do multiples of that. And if you're a fan of Sagan's book and movie of Contact, in there, the signal that they received was a multiple of pi. I don't remember what it was, 3 or 4 times pi. So that's been one approach. There have been other people who said maybe you could use the rotation speeds of pulsars, which are going to be seen around the universe and are very constant. Now, there was a question before about SETI. I did SETI from when I was a kid, online, the computer time. SETI is search for extraterrestrial intelligence. It's a passive listening for non-natural signals. Okay, so natural signals tend to be very broad in their bandwidth, versus a non-natural signal or made by an intelligent species will be very narrow. So that's what you're looking for, a narrow signal that's repeatable. That would be something that would be probably linked to an intelligent species. Very computing intensive. And you can participate here. UC Berkeley has doing SETI at home. And so if you use that QR code there with your cell phone, that'll take you right to that website. So you'll see some QR codes as I go through my talk. So if you have your cell phone available, use that to take a snapshot of that. Anyone need more time to do that? No? Okay. Another citizen science SETI project is UCLA, has Are We Alone in the Universe? This one's a little different. They're actually looking at trying to train their artificial intelligence tools for removing radio frequency interference. So they've got gads of data, but computers are not very good at picking out right now interference. And so they're asking the community at large, citizen scientists, to help out. And so there's the URL and there's the QR code for this one, which I think is a very interesting one. I've done quite a number of things on this one. They're using the 100-meter telescope at Green Bank, which is on there. Talking about Green Bank, we go to Frank Drake, who just passed away 2 years ago. He was a young astronomer, just got his PhD working at Green Bank. And in 1960, for a few $1,000s, he started the first search for extraterrestrial intelligence, which became SETI. He was a little embarrassed. He thought people would laugh at him. So he tried to keep it on the down low. But, you know, when he looked at these signals, he looked at 2 stars, TOS SETI and Epsilon Eridani, at the water hole, 21 centimeter line. it was a failure. There was no signal detected, but the story got out and it became a worldwide sensation that we're looking for little green men. The National Academy of Sciences then turned to him and said, "Hey, why don't you set up a conference to discuss SETI?" And he said, "Okay, great idea." And then he invited all 12 people that were currently interested in the subject, and they formed what was called the Order of the Dolphin as a work group. And then just like 2 days before the actual meeting, he realized I need an agenda. So he said, "I'm going to develop equation to sort of estimate how many civilizations might be out there." And that became the famous Drake equation. One test question for you guys. Why was it called Project Ozma? Does anyone know where the name Ozma came from? I wish I had like a NASA sticker to auction off here. No one's going for it. This is from The Wizard of Oz, the Princess Ozma. Okay. That's what it was, Princess Ozma. Okay. You didn't know there were going to be test questions. I just pepper them in here. So the other one is METI. This stands for Messaging to Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And so this is different than passive. This is active, where we're reaching out and we're sending signals into space, trying to get someone to correspond with us. Very controversial. It's like, 50-50. Some people think it's a great idea. Other people think it's the worst thing we could be doing, saying, "Come here and kill us." So it's a very interesting area. So you could say, well, what METI signals have been sent? And I think, well, if you're going to send signals into space, you're probably going to be pretty serious about it. Well, not always. So we have a few examples. Obviously, we've done for the last 50 years, well, essentially 100 years, commercial radio and TV has been just blaring out into space. And it's been estimated that those signals, while they'll be weak, should have encountered approximately 10,000 stars by now. So if someone's listening, we certainly have sent it out. In 1974, Arecibo, God bless its heart, sent out a message to M13, binary message of the DNA at double helix, a human stick figure, and the Earth's population at the time, which I think was like 3 million people or something. 3 billion, excuse me. In 1964, Russia sent a signal to Venus, of all places. Of course, they were doing a lot of work on Venus. I don't know what the molten slag said, but they said their signal said Mir, Lenin, and God bless USSR, essentially a Morse code. In 83, this was my favorite, by the way. After a few drinks, 2 Japanese astronomers sent a structure of ethanol and the word cheers to Altair. Okay, or Altair, if you want to be proper about it. In 2008, NASA celebrated their anniversary as well as the 40th anniversary of the Beatles song sent across the universe to Polaris. So we've got a mixed bag with regards to METI signals. And, it's an interesting topic for discussion. Should we be doing that? So let's focus on SETI for a bit. SETI results to date. No definitive evidence for a signal from an intelligent extraterrestrial civilization has been detected. Not just from the beginning, but to where we are right now. There was one signal called the WOW signal that came out in 1977. Someone have a question? Okay. From the direction of Sagittarius, but it was never repeated. Here's actually the data sheet from that and the work on it. Wow, that's how it became the WOW signal. Those codes are basically their internal codes for the strengths of the signal, and the signal was strong. So we spent 50 years clearly looking for SETI. We haven't had any success. So you could ask, should we keep searching? Is there really no one out there? Well, that raises the question, well, how much SETI have you really done? And, there's a publication here, Wright et al. In 2018 talking about it's like finding needles in an n-dimensional haystack. In science, you can think of things as having dimensions, whether it be like its length, its height, its width, its temperature. You can have many different parameters to describe something. And in this case, for radio astronomy, I'm listing 7 parameters here, from sensitivity down to modulation, polarization, etc. So you have at least a 7-dimensional space you're trying to look at, which we can't envision in our minds, but mathematically we can manipulate that. And that's a huge space. So how do I put that in mind? Well, if you looked at the amount of water in a hot tub, maybe 400 or 500 gallons of water, that's about how much SETI we've done. And how much could be done if you looked at just those 7-dimensional, That's all the water on the earth. So we've barely scratched the surface, and probably not even scratched the surface of what SETI we've done. So you can see it's an immense project that would take many lifetimes unless we come up with new technology to do that. One you may have just seen published just this month basically came out with the search for technosignatures. This is Project Breakthrough Listen, and they're using the Robert C. Byrd Radio Telescope at Green Bank. And basically their goal was they were looking at all these 97 galaxies and trying to see if there's any signals coming from these galaxies. And you say, well, gee, a galaxy, it's really far away. But they wanted to try to put constraints on, what could be the presence of, say, mega civilizations that are much more advanced than us, that maybe have been sending out signals for millions of years. And one way to look at this is there was a Soviet scientist back in the 1960s. Many of you may be familiar with it. The Kardashev, he came up with a system for ranking basically the level of development of a civilization. Type 1, as I say in my table there, is all the energy of a planet. And we're not even close. If you look at for our planet, we're orders of magnitude below what the energy of what the sun hits, the light from the sun that hits our planet, let alone the resources that exist on our planet. Then level 2, you use all the energy of a planetary system. And level 3, you're using all the energy of your host galaxy. And there was refinements on this from Sagan and others, but just give you an idea. So this paper talked about that they were looking at something like Cardiff type 2, someone who has the ability, or civilization has the ability to use their power planetary system. They would have the ability to send out signals so powerful that you'd see them from these galaxies. And they found nothing. So at least it puts constraints on that. So estimating how likely it is that we're alone. Modeling in science is one of those endeavors that if you're in science, and I've done a lot of modeling over my career, basically you take underlying science that you know, and you apply it to the situation you're looking at to try to predict outcomes or to interpret the data that you have based on the science that you know. Models really help us to explore what could be possible in a system and put constraints on things and provide insights. So that's really what mathematical modeling is about. And what you'll see is basically what is done here to try to understand how likely is it that we're alone. So how do we proceed from here? Given the knowledge of the science and how many technological species could there be, make assumptions on the only repository of life we know, which is Earth, and life here, and using what's been.
You're still running?
Sorry?
Only ran for about.
Okay. Could someone mute? Thanks. Astrobiology is the science looking into what might be species that would develop beyond the Earth look like. It's the only science I know without a subject matter yet, but it's one that's going to help us a lot thinking about what's maybe possible. What should we be looking for when we're looking for some of these signals, whether they be technosignals or ideally maybe even compositions of atmosphere and understanding whether or not there's life. So this leads you to the Drake equation. So hopefully no one's afraid of math. There's a little bit of math coming up here. So this is the original Drake equation from 1960, and I'm just going to walk you through it. It's pretty obvious. So basically the number of civilizations, N, starting from the left, in our galaxy that's communicating. Well, remember, Drake was only thinking about this from focus on life using technology, not all possible life forms. And so he said that equals the average rate of star formation in our galaxy times the fraction of those stars that have planets, F sub P. Then N sub E is the average number of planets that can potentially support life per star that has planets. And then F sub L is the fraction of planets that could support life that actually develop life. And then F sub I is the fraction of planets with life that actually go on to develop intelligent life, civilizations. And then F sub C is the fraction who actually go ahead and release signals into space. And of course, there's a time aspect to this too, of both how far they are from us, and that's the light cones you see on the right, but also the length of time which the civilization actually is sending those signals out, either because they are using technology at that time that sends the signal, or honestly, the civilization was basically went extinct. So these are the 1960 estimates that Drake and his collaborators came up with. Star formation, he said about 20 stars per year in the Milky Way, 4 sun-like, and most of the red dwarfs. So they said, oh, it's between 4 and 19. Let's use 10. Okay. There's a lot of back of your seat of your pants here. Fraction from the planets, they said about half because they figured about only non-binary stars would have planets. That's not true, but that's what they thought at the time. Number of planets that could support life and to be unknown. So they said, well, if they're in a habitable zone, let's assume 2. Fraction that could support life and so on, they assumed 1. That, yeah, all could support life. Fraction of intelligent life, they said maybe 1%. Then the fraction of civilization with signals, another 1%. So if you throw all those into the equation, you come up with number of civilizations in our galaxy equals how long the civilization is emitting those signals divided by 1,000. And using their numbers, that says L would be about 10,000. If L was 10,000, excuse me, then you'd have about 10. So that's basically the 1960 estimates. Now, they varied from 10 up to 50 million, depending on the values you put into it. I mean, obviously, you're all probably saying, well, hell, there's lots of unknowns and lots of assumptions, and you'd be absolutely right. Drake did the best they could in 1960. They didn't know that there were planets out there around stars. They thought there would be, didn't know. So we've come a long way since then.
Hold on. My understanding is that Drake came up with this at a meeting for SETI, kind of off the cuff, and provided the Drake equation as a rationale. Like on the spur of a moment, I don't think it was, quote, the best that they could come up with. I mean, people have looked at the Drake equation for a long time, but it's hard for me to believe that that was the best they could come up with. And certainly it's only in context with SETI.
Well, hey. I hear you, but truthfully, they didn't have a lot of the numbers that we have today. And so these were their best estimates at the time. And you're right, it came up for what I said before. This was a conference that Drake organized at the behest. And basically he came up with this for that purpose. And they did their best estimates based on the science they knew in 1960. So I'm not trying to denigrate them if that's what that's not my point at all. My point is they did the best job you could do 50 years ago, or further, 70 years ago. But today we can actually do a better job because we have more data. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't know where you were going with it.
Yeah, no, it's no way denigrating Drake. What I'm just trying to say is that Drake did a great job by putting this on the table, and he started the whole thing. So I think of him as a hero. And the limitations of Drake equation was he was really only estimating intelligent communicating life. Only considered planets, not moons. We know in our own solar system, Europa and others in the solar system could potentially have life. And there's many unknowns. And we still have some of those unknowns today. And of course, there's the Fermi paradox, which is a challenge to SETI in general. And just to make sure we're all on the same page, what's the Fermi paradox? Well, it started with, in the center here, I'm moving my pointer, but you can't see it, that cartoon. The cartoon in 20 May 1950 from the New Yorker showed an alien spacecraft that had landed. The aliens have come to the Earth, and they're stealing garbage cans. There was a lunch in 1950 at Los Alamos, and Enrico Fermi was visiting, and they were commenting on this cartoon and laughing about it. But then Enrique just turned to everybody and said, that, where is everybody? And he never published anything formally to go behind us, but the logic goes sort of like this. And, again, input if you have any other thoughts. There's so many stars in the Milky Way galaxy, 2 to 400 billion stars. Even a small fraction with intelligent life could result in a large population of civilizations. Even a small, slow interstellar craft could reach other star systems. He wasn't assuming that was what we have today. He was saying, we're going to advance quite rapidly. Maybe in a few hundred years, we'll have craft that could approach maybe a small fraction of the speed of light, maybe a few percent of the speed of light. Then you could envision that within a reasonable amount of time, you could get to a nearby star. Then you would colonize that nearby star and give it a few hundred years for the civilization to develop, get industries in place, build new spacecraft. And that civilization then launches craft onto further stars. And the process continues until you colonize the entire galaxy. So if you do a back of the envelope calculation, overall estimates suggest you could achieve this in 50 to 50 million years, 5 to 50 million years. And well, that sounds like a long time from human perspective. When you consider how long the civilization, the galaxy's been around, 13 plus billion years, where is everybody if they're actually out there, given what we just walked through there? And that's the Fermi paradox.
Don, you still there?
Yep, I think you're frozen, Don.
I think we froze Don. I think Don Miller's frozen up. Uh-oh.
Right, I just lost power here in Glen Mills.
Let's give him a minute. Okay, he's shut down, so he's got a problem. Let's give him a minute to come back. Let me give Don Miller a call, see if I can reach him. Don? Yeah, we lost you. Okay, okay, I'll tell everybody I'm gonna try again, okay. Yep. That's all right, do what you can do. Okay, all right. Yep, bye. He's gonna try reconnect, his phone connection just dropped. Let's give him a minute or two.
Hey, Don, this is Mike. While we wait, Friday night's event at Tyler Arboretum is canceled. There's another rain event Friday night that could be a heavy as well. So they postponed it or rescheduled it for the following Friday. But I'm looking at the forecast and looks to be in the teens at night.
Jeez.
So
That's
I don't know if I'm
cold, yeah.
interested in going out under those conditions. So we'll watch.
That's cold, yeah, with the telescope.
Yeah, but it's all for Friday night.
Okay, well, we'll be away, I'll be away the 19th, Barb and I. But I think if it's in the teens, that's too cold to be out. Standing outside for 3 hours, forget it.
Absolutely.
You'd be calling the paramedics.
I'm with you there. Just wanted to pass it on.
Thanks. So if Don can't connect, he's gonna call me back, so we'll see what happens. I'm just glad we're not all sitting over at Westchester University having this happen in the dark.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. This is Phil Rosamondo from Lancaster, calling in and just simply saying I miss you all. I'm giving you a big hug and Happy New Year.
Hey, Phil, how are you?
Oh, I'm okay, thank you. I wish I was closer, but I'm enjoying myself living in this dry dock cruise ship, and I can't find a level of technology here that I'm able to find by your way. So appreciate it. I'll tell you that much. It's a beautiful place with great people, but no Well, I got to find an astronomy club in this area. Anyway, I didn't want to interrupt. I just wanted to say I miss you and say hi.
Yeah, we haven't heard from him in a while. So, and Mike Manning just texted me. They lost power for the 5th time tonight. So I think Heather, did you ask about the Sea Star? I think.
Yeah, she did. And I'd like
Can you
to,
hear
I
me?
like the link too as well, Don.
Here's the
Oh, nice.
you go to zwostro.com and just search for the Sea Star.
Cool. I think I just
ZWO.
found it, and I found it on sale at High Point Scientific.
That's where I bought mine from, and my friend in California bought his from High Point.
Oh,
And,
awesome.
again, nothing has ever approached this price point before, and it's really pretty amazing.
Very cool. When I have good power, I'll look at and review it a little bit more.
Yeah,
Awesome.
power back. Yeah.
So Don, just curious, how do you think they were able to make this so affordable? I mean, I know technology takes leaps, but this is really a big leap.
They've been developing for 5 years.
Okay.
It's a company that what they do is cameras and things. That's what they've been doing for years. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so they've been doing this for a long while. They took 5 years to develop this product. So Don Miller coming back yet or not? I haven't seen him.
What are they doing with regard to the manufacturing of the components of that system? I'm kind of curious.
I'm sorry, of the what?
The manufacturing, I mean, the parts, where are the parts made and how do they pull it all together? Because
Everything
to make a system like that, you need all kinds of parts, right?
Yeah, well, they have full factories making telescopes and cameras already. So, and it's with China, where most of these things are coming from these days.
But the chip is a Sony chip.
It's a Sony chip, yeah.
And it's a good one. It's a really good video chip.
It's the same chip that's used in some of the other scopes that are out there. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Dave, how are you? How are
We
you?
just lost Don Miller about 5 minutes ago. He's trying to come back. He has no power. He was streaming through his phone as a hotspot, but I can't wait for him. He said he'd call back. It was going actually very well until he just dropped off.
Okay. By the way, Don, those pictures out of that little unit are astounding for the size of the thing, and for $500, unbelievable.
Yeah, these shots are pretty amazing. There's NGC 457, the ET cluster on the left, double cluster on the right. So yeah, that's the most amazing one. That's like 2 minutes. That's all it was.
Yep.
All it was.
So Don, did you also get the tripod to go with it?
Yep, it's just a little baby tripod, and that's all it needs. I set it up on our deck at the Pocono. It's just up on the deck, and it does everything from there.
Really
and
cool.
it's a good, and it even has its own internal dew heater, so you can have a tripod that low to the ground, and even if the body of the thing dews up, the camera stays clear. How far could you get away from that thing without losing contact with Wi-Fi?
Well, when I went outside and it was like cold and windy, a little bubbled up, I was outside for like maybe 10 minutes at most until I got everything connected. Then I came inside and I was like 20 feet away. I had perfect connection, sitting at the dining table.
The only thing that I've read about it is that if it's really cold, if you get more than 15 feet away, the connection with the Wi-Fi can be iffy, but it sounds like you had no problem at all.
I had no trouble at all. No, none.
That's good to know. That means that anybody who wants to can get into astrophotography at this point. I should take a hatchet to my observatory.
Well, it's not quite that good, but it's a lot of fun.
Don't do that, Dave. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Are you
Wow.
kidding? For $500, I can be cheap too.
Yeah. And I saw just today, I saw Celestial introduce one that they want $4,000 for. Now it's a 6-inch scope, and they want $4,000 for theirs.
Well, the
So
French
those
company
touching the price.
that started coming out with them has come out with a new one that's more sophisticated and actually has a really fast video thing, so you can do a little more with the planetary.
Is that
But-
Unistellar, maybe?
Yep. But they're
they're
on
the
the
first.
order of $2,500 to $4,000. They're nowhere
Yeah.
near this thing. I
Yeah.
mean, for
Oh,
$500, I
Temple's
can't
back.
even get an Ethos eyepiece.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
All right, Don Miller's coming back in.
Okay, I'm going to mute.
Can you hear me, Don Miller? Doesn't look good. Anybody see any of the Gemini meteor shower? Well, I saw, well, one night we were out, we saw like 7 in 45 minutes, and I saw like 7 or 8 the next night in the same amount of time. Some really good ones. All right, Don's back. Maybe.
No, when I've gone out and looked up, I've seen plenty of Elon Musk's satellites, but I haven't seen much in the way of meteors.
Yeah, yeah. There he is. You're back.
I'm back on my phone. So
Yay.
Don, can you run the show from your computer and I'll just talk here? I'm sorry, guys. It's been a fight here.
I can. Let me get to it.
I had to move upstairs in my house. My phone went from 5G to 4G and just lost everything. Up here in the second floor, I get 5G.
Hmm. Okay, I'm launching your PowerPoint.
Okay.
Let me get down to about where you were. You were down to we're finished with Drake. All right, let me see if I can get this to go.
You thought this might happen, Don, and it did.
Yep. All right, slideshow. All right, is everyone seeing this?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the slide you want, Don?
Yeah, I mean, basically this works fine. This was just a refresh. Basically, this was a retelling of the Fermi paradox, where basically they went through the logic of, the physical limitations, space travel, could be infeasible due to biological engineering or other limitations. And also sociological explanations. ET just doesn't want to come here. But, or that there's just not enough. This author concluded based on the above that we're alone in the universe. I don't know that I is argued, but idea of how people benefit this. Next slide. So what I want to do now is to what do we know now that the event. So next slide, please. And this is where I was around habitable zones. It's one of the concepts they didn't include in the original one, but it's come to the fore.
Lost him again. This may be a losing battle here. Dave, what do you think? He was garbled. I'm sure everyone else, but I could only hear about half what he was saying.
Yeah.
I can only hear about half of it. It 5G is what the Zoom likes, but the problem is the further you're away from your router, the worse the connection.
Yeah. I'm going to call him and tell him to write up the router if he can. And otherwise, we're going to give up. No. Okay. Well, we'll have to reschedule. So, okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably our best option at this
Yeah,
point.
not your fault. Okay. We're going to sign off then. You're on speaker. You can address the group yourself. Here you go.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, my phone is not keeping a good internet connection, so I apologize, but we'll have to do this another time. Bruce, I don't know when that'll be.
Sure.
I apologize.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, we can account for a lot of things, but not the weather.
Yeah. It's like we had a stargazing night figure tonight. That's why it's raining. Instead, we had a meeting and it's raining.
Anyway, guys, everybody who showed up, thanks for showing up.
Yes.
Bruce will inform us when we can reschedule this one. And I really hope that we do, because this looks like an excellent talk.
Yeah.
I definitely for one, need an upgrade on the Drake equation.
We'll start from the Drake equation next time, okay?
All right, Don. Thanks for everything you've
everyone.
tried to do.
Here, I finally make the meeting and you close down early. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Take care. Stay safe, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Well, Phil, tell it to stop storming out there.
Okay. Bye, Don. Thanks for trying.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Hey, guys.
Bye,
Love you
everyone.
all.
everybody.
Miss you.
Can the
There's
exec
the kitty.
stay on for a minute?
Kitty's that, John.
Sure. Stay on, guys.
Yeah.
Bruce, did you get my mail?
Your mail. When did you send it?
Snail mail. Around Christmas time.
Don't think so. No. No. No, I would have responded back if I did. Sorry. No.
No, it's regular snail mail, and it was for the
Yes.
the fund.
Yes. I wanted to call you and thank you immensely.
I'm just glad that you got it. That's all I wanted to find out.
In fact, I don't know who's still on the line, but basically right now,
If you go to your view, go to gallery, you can see everyone that's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 9 of us.
There's, I guess bottom line, we're in early January and we have just under $1,900 in the scholarship fund, and that's from donations from 5-6 people. And Dave, yours was the lion's share, but which is very good. I mean, so it's January. I think it bodes well that we'll have a healthy scholarship fund by mid-spring.
Okay, fantastic. That's good news, Bruce.
If you want to send out a reminder or another announcement, Bruce, I will distribute it. You send it to me, I'll distribute it.
Yeah, I was going to wait. I was going to say it tonight, actually, but we were eager to get started with Don's talk. And then I thought maybe when our email situation is going to be rectified, I was going to send out another announcement. So I didn't want to raise that issue either at the meeting. I know John's on now, but if we have any prognosis.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Good.
So part of our situation is our actual website. Our website is now 20 years old, and technology has moved on. And so what was not a problem even probably 5 years ago is starting to be an issue. And that has to do with that we have an unsecured website. We don't gather information that never mattered before. But unfortunately, service providers are starting to look at those sites as being dangerous. So when we're using NetNation's distribution list, we're going through NetNation's IP address. And that IP address is, linked to our website, which is now viewed as being dangerous. So when we're sending things, and I think multiple things are happening. But it's all interrelated. So when we're sending things and we're attaching files, multiple files especially, when we're sending each other pictures and things like that, Um, the internet service providers that provide security are viewing us now as spammers. And so then they are putting 24-hour quarantines on us. So that's why we can't see what we're sending. So it just kind of keeps snowballing. Okay. And then the individual providers themselves have limitations. Comcast has a limit, 25 megabytes of file that you can attach. What was the other one? Google has a limit as well. NetNation actually limits to supposed to be 10, but I've been seeing more. It's like 8 megabytes for attachments.
Okay.
So this is what we're starting to run to. My next thing to do, once I survive the start of the semester and new student orientation and everything else, is to get on the phone with the NetNation again and find out what would it take for us to have or convert our site to a secure site. Because even when you change the URL address, and I've got a cat off my lap now, but even when you change the URL address to that HTTPS, they know it's not really S. And so that's when you get the screen that pops up about insecure. Do you really want to proceed? Click here. And because I was playing with it the other night to see, like, okay, well, they're telling me to just put an S on our site, address. And I was like, yeah, that's not gonna quite do it either.
Yeah.
So I just want to give you an update on what's happening. The other thing that's happened is, and it has to do with technology again. I had to buy a new computer because my laptop was several years old and getting to the point where it was basically unusable. So now I have a new laptop. I'm on it tonight. It's wonderful. Some of my software doesn't work on it anymore.
Oh boy.
So, we're aging out.
The same thing happened to the Astronomical League. They could not maintain the website any longer. That's why they spent a year putting up a new site.
Right.
They couldn't maintain it.
I mean, so let me pursue this. But I just want to start making people aware.
Should we be looking towards perhaps a totally new server and a totally new website, redesigned, everything else?
We could be.
Because, John, this is your chance to win another web designer award from the Astronomical League.
Well, just all my free time.
Well, I can certainly help you with this as best as I can, but designing websites isn't as hard as it was 20 years ago.
No, it's not.
Getting the right service to use it.
Right. And it's, this is so the conversation comes up. I did this the other year with Maryland TESOL when I was on the Maryland TESOL board and went through this whole process too with them. There are really wonderful service providers out there that have solutions that just do everything.